Okay, the graph, domain, range of an exponential function. So we're given this function. We're supposed to graph. Okay, so I just have a picture here. I don't have the actual Alex tool pulled up, but what Alex is going to want you to do is to get a couple of points and then use those points to graph. So we got g of x. So you can start, probably easiest is to plug in 0. So that's what this notation means. Instead of g of x, I put g of 0. So that means everywhere where I see the x variable, I'm putting 0 in its place. So g of 0 equals 1/2 to the 0 power should be 1. 1 plus 2 makes 3. So with your Alex tool, you'll click this pencil, and then you're going to go, we just found out that it's 0 when we put in an x variable. You get out a y variable of 3. So use that pencil tool and put a dot right up here between that 2 and the 4. And then let's try graphing. Let's try getting another point. Now, this knowing that this one works, I know it's not easy to know why I'm coming up with this. But I'm going to use the negative first power, and you'll see why. Okay, and it'll take practice probably until you just know that instinctively. But a negative first power, like x to the negative first, is 1 over x. So if I know I have 1 over 2 to the negative first power, it's going to be 1 over 1 over 2. Okay, which is just 2. You can check that with a calculator. Here, 1 over 2 is 0.5, right? If you do 1 divided by 2 in your calculator. So if you raise that to the negative first power, it gives you 2. So this is just 2 plus 2, which equals 4. So I plugged in a negative 1, I got out 4. So again, with your pencil tool and Alex, go back 1 on the x-axis, go up to 4 on the y-axis, put a dot. And I think you have enough to use that pencil tool. I'm not entirely sure. Sorry, not the pencil tool. Use the this tool right here. We could get another point just to make sure. Let me see what else would be good. I think you might need an asymptote here too, but they don't have a horizontal one. If you plug in... Yeah, what you should see is that the dots get closer and closer. And you could graph this in Desmos. So if you just Google search Desmos, you can type this graph right in. And when you graph it, you should see as you get dots, they get closer and closer to y equals 2. But I don't see a horizontal asymptote tool here. That's a vertical one. Let's try another point. If you plug in another negative exponent, and again, I'm using it because I see a fraction there. Okay, I see that that 1/2. So you can check that with your calculator again. 0.5 to the negative second power makes 4. 4 plus 2 gives you 6. So negative 2 comma 6 is a dot on the graph. But I think Desmos can do it when you just have 1 point. So you go negative 2 on the x, 6 on the y, and put a dot. Negative 2 on the x, 6 on the y, and put a dot. Shoot. I'll try to pull up Desmos, but... Okay, for the domain and range part, yeah, the domain means all the values you can plug into the function without breaking math rules. Okay, so the two questions you want to ask with domain is, could I divide by 0? Could I square root a negative? If you can't do either of these two things, then you're good to go. The domain is all real numbers. Look, I can't divide by 0. X is an exponent. There's no way to divide by 0. So this is I'm all set there. I don't have to do any restriction on my domain. There's no square roots in this function, so I can't take the square root of a negative number. No problem there. The domain, when you type in Desmos, actually is domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. And you can get that from the graph too. If you I said type in Desmos. Type in Alex, sorry. Yeah, because you want to type this in Desmos to take a look at the graph to convince yourself of this. Look, it reaches everywhere on the x-axis. If you go back here, there's going to be a dot somewhere up here on the y-axis. If you go here, a negative 1 on the x is a dot. If you go here, there's no place on the x-axis that we can't find a dot for it on the graph. The range is a different story. The range is the y-axis. So that asymptote I was talking about, at y equals 2, it never reaches 2, so I have to put a parentheses there. Because remember, domain, range, and interval notation, you put the lowest value first, comma, the highest value. So on the y-axis, I never quite reach 2. It's an asymptote. 2, I put a parentheses and a 2. And for the highest value I can get, it never stops climbing, right? Y equals 1 billion is possible. So we got to put positive infinity symbol there. That would be your range for this question.